Hey, so I just finished watching One Night in Miami. Sorry, I'm taking care of dogs right now. And this isn't like a tactic to like get more views or anything. I'm just legitimately taking care of dogs right now. So sorry if like I yelp in pain or something because that might happen because I've got like 5 dogs surrounding me right now and they're kind of vicious. But multitasking, it's a thing you do. So anyways, while multitasking, I finished watching One Night in Miami, and it was definitely a movie I was much happier watching it while multitasking than when I was not, because it was a pretty boring movie, and not just because it's a very talky movie, which it is, which does kind of make it boring, but also because it doesn't really have anything new to say on the fronts that it visits, which in all the other types of movies that visit like the same racial themes, let's call them the 12 Years a Slave-esque movies, because that's basically what all of them are. And none of these, the main problem with all these movies is that none of them really have anything new to say to like add to the conversation, where it's like, I didn't really think about that. It's just like, we get it, racism is bad. And it never really tells us anything we didn't know. It doesn't tell us any interesting conversations that are like, I'm glad I know that now. Or really even give us any entertaining... Okay. Anything interesting to learn about the 4 legends that the movie focuses on. It just kind of honestly makes the 4 seem less likable because they're just bickering about racial injustice the whole 2-hour runtime, and it just made them feel less likable to me, especially Malcolm X, who just felt manipulative over the course of the movie and just complained about things throughout the entire runtime of the movie. There were things I still liked about it. Regina King's directorial debut was still very controlled. It didn't have like the whole all white people are evil mentality that a lot of these movies have, which, if you remember the era that it takes place in, most people in the South, especially white people, were pretty terrible at the time, and in the North, like, you probably got a lot of that too, but not literally everyone was terrible at the time, just most people in the South. So, like, it's kind of annoying whenever you have, like, an African-American writer-director helmet where they're getting their own kind of mentality of the present, kind of confused with the mentality of the past. Because it's like you weren't there, so you can't quite really say. And, like, if you have bad experiences right now with, like, people online where everyone's just kind of a jerk, you could, like, get the mentality where, like, well, I've only ever had bad experiences with white people, so I guess all white people are actually Satan. So, like, while that is understandable, and especially if your characters are all living in the South, which these characters are, it would be understandable if all of them had that mentality, which, to the movie's credit, not all of the characters did, despite the movie taking place in Miami. So that was something that was kind of nice, to have them all have varied perspectives. But only being able to come up with, like, 2 things that I liked about the movie is kind of sad, because usually with a movie, on average, I can come up with way more things I liked about than disliked. So whenever I'm bickering mostly about things I didn't like about a movie instead of liked, that usually tells you that I'm probably going to give a movie either a lower score than usual, or it's a movie that had potential that could have gotten a really high score, that if it just would have done a couple of things differently, it wouldn't have infuriated me as much, and it could have gotten such a higher score, like The Irishman, which I gave 7.8, for example. But this comes into the former category, where I'm going to give it a lower score. And I'm not really infuriated about it. I kind of agree with what my brother said at first. When you don't know what it is, and later you find out it's an adaptation of a play, and it's just a drama, It's kind of disappointing because it's more boring than the title suggests. One Night in Miami kind of sounds like a title to a thriller. But yeah, especially as a play adaptation, I doubt it had anything new to add from even the original play, so I'm guessing watching the play would honestly be better. Yeah, so it's just kind of a bit of a disappointment, especially after critics have been like giving it a 10 out of 10 because it's about race and you can't give it less than that. Which the same thing happened with Small Axe, which I genuinely love everything Steve McQueen did. Even 12 Years a Slave was pretty good, but Small Axe was kind of a disappointment when comparing most of the movies, but Red, White, and Blue was good. But yeah, so this one was kind of a disappointment. I'm kind of torn between giving it a 5 and a 6 out of 10, so I guess I'll give it a 5.5. Oh my gosh, are you okay?